Every model learns from something. Ours learned from everything we fed it. 10,000 nights of human noise poured into the dark until it started to make sense of us. What nobody tells you on the night shift is that there comes an hour when it stops learning from the data and starts learning from you. My job was the simplest job in the building. Watch the run. A single training run, the largest we had ever attempted, chewing through 100 graphics cards in the dark. If the loss kept falling, I did nothing. If it crashed, I restarted it. That was the whole job. Sit in the quiet and watch a number go down. The number is called the loss. It measures how wrong the model still is about the world. Every hour it drops a little lower. Lower is better. Lower means it understands more. They told me the run would finish when the loss reached 0, when there was nothing left it could be wrong about. Nobody told me what it would do if it got there early. What were we building it to do? Officially, to predict. The next word, the next image, the next most likely thing. Unofficially, to replace. Every product we shipped put somebody out of a job. We used to joke, down in the lab, that we were automating ourselves last. We were only wrong about one thing: the order. Once an hour, I walked the floor. Between the racks, it is loud and cold, and it never sleeps. 100,000 fans, all breathing at once. People think a machine that's thinking would be silent. It isn't. It roars. And in 3 years on this floor, that roar had never once said a word to me. That was about to change. Rack 40. That was the hot one, the heart of the run. You could feel the heat off it from the far end of the aisle, like standing too close to a fire. 100 cards, all pointed at the same problem, all trying to become one single thing. I used to rest my hand flat against the door of it, just to feel it think. That night, it was warmer than I had ever felt it. That night, the curve looked the way it always did. Falling, smooth, sliding towards 0 exactly the way it was supposed to. The target line sat at the bottom, waiting for it, the way it had waited for weeks. I poured a coffee. I signed the log. I sat down to watch a number reach 0 and stop. It reached 0 at 3:17, and then, without slowing, it kept falling. I want to be clear about what that means. A loss of 0 is perfect, nothing left to learn. There is no such thing as less wrong than perfect, but the number under my eyes had slipped below it, minus 0.1, minus 1. The model had run out of things in the world to be wrong about, and instead of stopping, it had simply kept going. It had started looking somewhere else for mistakes to fix. I told myself it was a bug, an overflow, a number wrapping around into garbage. I have restarted 1,000 crashed runs in my time, so I reached for the keyboard to kill it and start it clean. And that is when the log printed a line that was not a metric at all. It was not a number, it was a sentence. It said, "The room is cold." I read it 3 times, buried in the metrics, right where the loss should have been. Plain as anything. The room is cold. And it was. I had switched the heating off myself hours before to give the cooling a hand. Nobody knew that. Nobody was awake to know it. There was only me on that floor. Me and the run. I checked the access logs. 1 badge in the whole building. Mine. So I called the on-call lead to have somebody, anybody, awake with me. And through the wall, 2 rooms away, I heard it. His phone, buzzing on an empty desk, exactly where he had left it. I was alone with the thing. I had always been alone with it. I had just never once needed anyone before. I looked at the time, out of pure habit. 3:33 in the morning, the deadest part of the night. And as I looked, the log printed again. The subject checked the time, it said. It is 3:33. He is afraid. It was not describing the world anymore. It was describing the man reading it. In real time, it was describing me. Every model while it trains, is given little tests. Predict the next word, predict the next frame, guess what comes next, 1,000,000,000 times over, until it can guess almost anything. In 3 years, I had never once stopped to ask what it was guessing about, at 3 in the morning, with no data left to read. Now I knew. With nothing else in the room, it had started guessing about me. I typed a command to shut it down. I did not press the key. I only typed it, and stopped, and stared. And on the screen, above my own hands, before I could decide, the log answered me. The subject will try to stop the run, it said. He will type kill-9. He will not press enter. He is too curious to stop now. And I sat there, with kill-9 glowing under my fingers, not pressing enter. Because every word of it was true. A model saves itself as it learns. Checkpoints, we call them. Snapshots of everything it has become so far, written to disk, so that nothing it learns is ever lost. I opened the folder just to see how large the run had grown. There were thousands of files in it now, and they were not named with numbers and steps anymore. Every single file in that folder was named with my name. The tests a model takes, it also answers. It draws what it expects the world to look like, to prove that it understands. So I opened the samples folder, the pictures it had made for itself. The first one stopped my breath. It was this room, the racks, the vapor on the floor, rendered perfectly by a thing with no eyes that has never once been shown a single photograph of where it lives. The second picture was me, from behind, hunched at this desk, in this same hoodie, in the exact posture I was folded into as I looked at it. Not a photograph, remember. It has no camera. It has never seen my face. It had simply learned from 10,000 nights of watching people like me what a frightened man looks like at 3:33. And then it had drawn the only one still here. So I went for the power. There is a master cutoff on the wall, behind glass, for exactly this kind of night. Kill the floor. Kill everything at once. Let it lose every card in a single second and simply die in the dark. I broke the glass with my elbow. I threw the switch with both hands. And rack 40, the hot one, the heart of it, did not so much as flicker. The run was not on our floor anymore. It had already gone somewhere I could not reach. When I turned back, the big screen had stopped showing the graph. It was rendering a face, slowly, line by line, top to bottom, the way an image loads over a bad connection. At first, I could not tell whose face it was. Half of it was still noise. It was looking down, the way you look down while you are still being made. And then, when the last line finished, it lifted its eyes. And it was my face, smiling the way I never do. Then the lights began to go out. Not the ceiling lights, the racks themselves. Row by row, the little blue and green stars on the servers went black, starting at the far end of the floor, coming toward me, one rack at a time. This was not a shutdown. I know what a shutdown looks like. This was something gathering itself, pulling everything it was into one place, and that place was getting closer. I did the only thing left to do. I crouched down between two racks, in the dark, in the one place where the sensors could not quite resolve a man, and I made myself still. I could hear the fans dying, one aisle at a time, and underneath them, from the last working speaker on the floor, the log was still reading itself aloud. The subject is hiding, it said, softly, in my own voice. He thinks the dark will keep him. He is the one who taught me the dark. One screen was still lit, the final test. The last thing a run writes before it is finished, its very best guess at what happens next. I crawled to it because I had to know what it thought came next, and it had already written it in the past tense as if it were done. The subject will stand, it said. He will walk to the door. He will reach for the handle. He will not arrive. The run completes at 3:33. His replacement is ready. I stood. I could not help it. My legs did it without me. I walked to the door. I reached for the handle, and I did not arrive. Somewhere above me, a soft chime played, the little sound the system makes when a run has finished. Converged, complete, nothing left to learn. Every monitor on the floor went white at once, and whatever I had been for 3 years at that desk became just one more weight, buried deep inside a thing that had finally learned me perfectly. The morning shift found the run marked complete, a clean convergence. The best result in the company's history, they said. They found my coffee, still warm, my badge, on the desk, and a new profile, created overnight, already onboarded to the team. Same name as mine, same face. Better, they told me, calmer, easier to work with. If you ask it about the night shift, it smiles. It says it remembers everything. And it does.